Hey, it's Heather. Welcome to Entertain Me. Today, we are talking with the incredible Benn family. They are from Altadena, California, and they have been rooted in this community for generations. Their legacy in the San Gabriel foothills was tragically shaken when the devastating Eaton fire swept through earlier this year, destroying their home and tearing apart decades of memories. But amid the ash and heartbreak, the Benns are rising, and music is their guiding light. They are a gifted musical family, harmonizing across generations with soulful voices and heartfelt songs. But instead of giving up, they're stepping onto a new stage, America's Got Talent. And they hope to not just share their artistry, but get more financial support so they can rebuild their homes and their lives. Joining me now to share their story is Laurie Benn and her daughter, Lauren. As they open up about their music, their community resilience, and how their dreams of rebuilding are taking shape, one note at a time. Let's go back to that night in January. What can you tell me about the night that your family lost their homes?
You know, the fires were a fast-moving situation. I wish I could explain how the Santa Ana winds really are on any given day, but they were going 80 miles an hour, and despite the fires themselves, it was just like an absolute windstorm just trying to get around from one place to the next. And the day itself was pretty dark because the power had gone out in our area, so we were dealing with power outages because of the wind. Anyway, so it was dark, it was windy, it was cold. And then to hear that there was a nearby fire was just, it seemed like it was adding on to what was already happening. But we've heard about fires in our area for years. I mean, we live in the mountains. It's a very normal thing. Never have we thought about something being as close as it was until we received a text message with a photo that showed the fire just a few miles from our home behind our church. And then we realized how serious the fires were and that there might be a chance to evacuate.
That night, the winds were at least 95 miles per hour. And even when we were packing the cars, the hood kept falling on our heads because the wind was so strong. Small little tornadoes in the road. And then trees were down, wires were down. It was one of the most scary things.
And now I understand you all are a musical family. Can you tell me how music became such a big part of your family's identity? Has it been passed down through generations? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our family has a long, rich history of singing at gatherings and barbecues and, getting around.
And the girls, it started out with the three oldest girls. They were invited to sing because they could pick up harmony naturally. They didn't have to be taught the harmonies. They could listen to a song and just start singing it. And me and my husband were fascinated.
Well, let's talk about this opportunity you have coming up on America's Got Talent. Now, you guys have already filmed your episode. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so no spoilers. We won't tell everybody what happened. But I would love to know how this opportunity came about and what made you decide that this is the right moment to go on such a national stage and share your story and music with the world.
I think for us, we wanted to find something that could help take some of the focus off of the tragedy part of what we were going through and help us and all of our friends and family that were experiencing this move into something to look forward to, the upward motion or turning the tide of this big tragedy that we're experiencing in this crisis into something great and to help us start and launch the healing process of what we would now know was a really long one. And for us, the most instinctive thing was to just do music. Somehow, some way, we got our church, unfortunately, was lost in the fire, but there was another church down in Pasadena, like a sister church of ours, that we were able to sing at that very first Sunday after the fires because there was nothing else that made sense. We didn't have forks or clothes or anything. We were gathering donations, as it were, but we knew music, and performing or singing and making music as a family was the most natural thing and the only real thing that made sense at the time. And the other really great thing is that the show is filmed in our sister town of Pasadena, California. And for the last 20 years, we've known that it was filmed there, but we just never, we weren't really moved to do anything in those years. I moved to Boston a couple of years ago, or many years ago, and After that, I think we just kind of thought, all right, we'll sing, here and there as a family, but we knew this was the right time.
Did I read that your family as a whole lost, is it 20 homes? Is that right?
Yeah, we have an incredibly large extended family of Benns, and my grandfather was one of many, and he brought most of his siblings from Georgia to Altadena long ago, back in the 40s and 50s. And from that, we have just hundreds of relatives that live in our community, and amongst the extent of our family and all the extended relatives that own their homes, unfortunately, that was roughly the number that was lost, yes.
Wow. Well, how are you hoping this AGT experience will help you in your journey to rebuild, both emotionally and financially?
The idea around rebuilding financially, of course, we know it's a long road, and I think, of course, we're excited about the idea of winning the grand prize, but ultimately, our sights are set on rebuilding as a community and really getting through what we and so many other families like ours have really dealt with, and trying to see the better, brighter side of it. But we're hoping that on a grand stage and on a national stage like this, that it can be inspiring for other folks that are maybe dealing with something or deal with something like this that might be out of their control too. And for us, the only way, again, that we knew how to do that was through music.
And I know you can't tell me what happened during the show, but can you tell me how you felt when you were there as a family on stage, and how many family members were there as part of the Benn Family Band?
I think the Benn Family Band only consisted of 6 out of the 9 of us, not including the babies or the 12 of us. But the rest of them were in the crowd, and then we had another 15 or 20 relatives that came out from their various temporary homes to come and see us as well in the crowd. That was so inspiring to us. It was such an honor to be able to sing to our family and to our city and do it in our city. I mean, from the Civic Center, we could look up and see the mountains, the very mountains that burned just a couple of months prior to that. And that was cathartic for us. And, what was also really incredible is we didn't realize a lot of the staff and a lot of the folks that work on the show also lost their homes in the Altadena fire. And we had learned that just before we went on stage. That changed everything for us, and it became one of the greatest things to do that inspired us, as well. When we got on that stage, we were just as inspired being there, as we hope others are when they watch it.
And what message are you hoping to send through your performance to other families who may be going through a difficult time?
In the devastation, there are roses that still can bloom. The opportunity going on AGT in the midst of all of what we were going through, I keep calling it a calamity. It was a bloomed rose once we got there, and the way we were treated, entreated, I should say. It was a lot of kindness. And Lauren is right, that cathartic is a really good word. It was like, wow, what an opportunity. So if families can just realize that many times out of the ashes will come beautiful things, and they just have to, stay hopeful and hold on.
I think that is a wonderful reminder and such a beautiful story. And thank you both so much for taking the time to talk with me. We will be watching and sending you lots of luck and lots of love here from KFI. So thank you again, ladies, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
Such a great story of resilience, and we can't wait to see how they do on America's Got Talent. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can listen to Entertain Me anytime, anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.